You know what? I was talking and I forgot to add myself to the stage. I'm gonna have to edit, 10 minutes out of this video. But I forgot that I had to add myself to the live stream. But fortunately I caught it in time, but I was wondering what the fuck, like I thought I was doing all right. But yeah, I forgot to add myself. But anyway, what I was saying was the thumbnail of this video, this haunted house, it reminds me of a couple things. One of the things is that one, Halloween season is coming upon us. If you celebrate it, I'm not really into celebrating Halloween. I mean, it's something that, if somebody had something going on or whatever. Okay, I'm cool with that. I'm not like, religious where the point where I'm like, oh no, Halloween, is Satan's holiday or anything. I'm not into all of that. I'm indifferent about Halloween. When I was younger, just like anybody in America, you get you're a kid, you go get your bag and you go get some damn candy and you got free candy, okay, for one day. Um, that's what I did, right? Just like anybody else, right? But the thing is this, right? If you are in if you're, you know, basically Gary, Indiana has a lot of, you could say, haunted houses. Okay. It has it actually, believe it or not, and I don't really talk about, a lot of stuff, but because everybody rags on Gary, Indiana. And that's why I played the old men laughing, because a lot of people do rag on Gary, Indiana, but yeah, Gary, Indiana does have a lot of abandoned houses. They have houses just like in the thumbnail of this video, actually even worse condition than the house in the thumbnail. One of those houses I actually probably I'm bringing back to life or whatever. I'm you know dealing with it. But yeah, it actually is a Netflix, one of the net. I think either it's going on right now, or at one particular time it was like number one. Is a basically movie called Deliverance, and that actual haunted house was in Gary, Indiana. Actually, honestly, I'm not really creeped out about it or anything. I'm highly, highly spiritual, highly in tune with my spirituality and you know, my awareness of the creator and all things, off-putting. But that house is not too far away from me. I would say I'm not really familiar with, all of the blocks and streets, but I think it's like less than 2 miles away from me. Just to kind of like creep you out or whatever. But the actual house that's based off of that movie that is on Netflix, Deliverance, yeah, it's in Gary, Indiana. It's not that far away from me. And the thing is that, yeah, if you want to save your money, man, all you got to do is just drive around Gary at night, man. It's just plenty of abandoned houses to creep you out. And if you really want to be creeped out, you can actually go in one. I don't recommend it. I definitely don't recommend it, but yeah, you could actually go inside the actual house, you know, and save your money, go in the actual house. So anyway, um one of the things that I noticed today, and I've heard this before. I was like, I'm ex Boy Scout or whatever, Cub Scout. I know the sound of, some birds, some birds I thought, okay, that's probably an owl, right? Some kind of owl. I didn't know exactly what kind of owl it was, but I'm like, what the hell is that? What kind of owl is that? So I go on YouTube and I distinctively hear remember the sound of what I heard. I was gonna record it, but I was like, okay, I remember how that sounds, so I looked up the list of basically owl sounds, and this is what what I heard, and this owl, this bar owl, it's like one of the creepy. It's actually one of the creepiest owls, man. That they in the owl species, and this definitely is in the Midwest, so it's in this actual region. So I'm pretty much on point as far as this is the actual owl that I heard like not too long ago, like maybe a couple hours ago. So I'm gonna show you this owl right here. This is kind of creepy, man. Let me show you this here. So that's like some that's like some Harry Potter type stuff, freaking, kind of creepy, man. Like, because the bar, it's a bar owl, obviously, right? So the eyes is like all black, right? Very very black. It's really it looks like the creepiest owl that you probably ever see. I mean, that owls are creepy. They're mystified creatures. Actually, I'm gonna tell you something about owls. If you're into like the esoterics and stuff like that, you already know about owls. A lot of the elite, they're into owls. That's the whole Drake OVO type, or OXO or whatever. Like the owls is like associated with the Illuminati, secret societies and shit like that, because the owl is like this creepish figure. It's a very wise. Basically, owls are known for wisdom, kind of like mysterious. They hunt very very quietly, and then when you hear the sounds of an owl, it's like really really creepy. Like, I'm gonna play this again, and I mean, I want you to hear how creepy this sound is. And this actually, I think this owl was actually in one of these abandoned buildings not too far from me, so I think they live in these buildings. But I don't know. It might have been in the trees, but it very much could have been in one of these abandoned houses, because I mean, that's one of the things. There's so many abandoned houses in Gary that, I mean, nature just takes over. Like, if you buy a house, right? Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, this is the nitty gritty of everything. I'm not gonna, this is a no cap zone, right? I try my hardest not to cap, so I tell you just how it is, right? So a lot of abandoned houses, at one particular time or another, or even if you buy a house abandoned, a lot of abandoned houses, basically, they don't have any windows, and they might not even be boarded up. So you just let your imagination play as far as who's been in that house and what has been in the house, as far as animals. So an animal ain't gonna do nothing but just take advantage of this environment, right? If they see an open ass house, they gonna go in it, or they gonna, a bird is gonna fly in it. So yeah, it's a lot of houses like that, man. But the thing is that if you are really really into housing, I mean, like, if you're not so much into housing but into like construction, that's not intimidating because when you're when you're building a house, a lot of times at one particular time, after everything is framed, after a house is framed and everything, the house is going to be open anyway. It, between the point where you build up the foundation of your brand new house, you have the framing, you have basically the sheathing, on this, that goes on basically the exterior of the house. It's gonna be a particular time, like a month or two might even be, or even longer, while you're waiting on the windows to come in and the house is open, the brand new house. You've seen it. If you drove past a construction site, you've seen an open house that's being built and the windows is not in there. So it's like it's not that much of a big deal, but you got to make sure you clean out a house and everything, because if it's abandoned, because you're gonna see like animal droppings and shit like that, because basically animals has been living in the house. But this owl, man, is man, it's really creepy, man. And this thing is big enough to kill like cats, um small dogs, definitely rats and voles and mice and stuff. But it probably ain't gonna touch no cat, because a cat will fight. Animals, they take risks. They're not gonna take that much for risk, with no cat, unless they really hungry. Maybe a kitten, you know um they not gonna take no risk like that though. But it's like, yeah, they eat small mammals basically, and just other birds and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I saw, man. I mean, or heard not too long ago. Very, very creepy. Almost like, kind of getting ready for, what's to come, Halloween, the fall, the cold weather, you know, stuff like that. And then I was going through my phone, and I was actually uh I was actually like these, old videos that I downloaded, and then I saw this video, and this was
Here's
kind of
my brand
interesting.
new.
This is kind of interesting right here. Uh, he's got some gun where he's firing it off, and this kind of reminds me of the U.S. economy right now.
It's called a Marette automatic 12 gauge. Here's my brand.
That was fast. Man, I think that's an edited video. I do not think he blew that far back, but I don't know. I mean, shotguns are very, very powerful, because a lot of people talk about, okay, pistols and stuff like that. But when you really if you play video games, you already know, like, shotguns do the most damage, so like, if you really supposed to have a shotgun for basically home protection. Your pistol, they say your pistol is for you to get to your shotgun. You grab your pistol first until you get to your shotgun, because that's what's gonna give the most damage. But shotguns are very hard to shoot because they got so much muzzle power that it will, if you don't hold it properly, it will blow you back. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've never shot a shotgun before. I've heard them because when I was doing security, I was actually taking security training to be an armed guard, and then I was at the range, and it was some people shooting, like they was shooting a 12 gauge, and it was like really really loud. And I had my basically sound protection muffs, and I still heard the sound, and then somebody was shooting, I think like a 44 Magnum or something. They basically call them a Rhino gun, and that was loud too. But yeah, it's it's some pretty powerful guns out there, man. And yeah, if you don't know how to hold them properly, you will get pushed back, or even worse. That song that you heard from the start, that's Journey, Don't Stop Believing. That's kind of like, man, I was somewhere. I was going in a restaurant, and I heard somebody playing that song. That's like a 80s classic. And it's basically a classical song, and it just kind of also a reminder, don't stop, man, believing. Because a lot of times, a lot of the people that do follow me, they are people that's trying to come up. They're not there yet. And it's just kind of just some inspiration, man. Don't stop. Don't stop believing. Keep going. And keep trying to pursue your goals. And definitely pick up the Millionaire Savings Plan. It's available on Amazon.com. It will definitely help you achieve your goals. It will help you get what you need to get out of life. It at the very least, get rid of that check to check lifestyle, get you some savings in your account, and try to keep going up the steps of the Millionaire Savings Plan, which is steps 1 through 11. Okay, it's kind of like a challenge, as well as a savings plan. you know Start with $1,000 and just work your way up to 1 million. It's 11 steps in between. Each step you get yourself a reward, and you move on. So anyways, yeah, I was thinking also about the last conversation I had with Iori, thinking of the abandoned houses and stuff, and working on my house that was, basically, it was abandoned for, the neighbor has told me, about 15 years. Some I think it was abandoned for about 15 to 20 years. Okay, so I was thinking about all of the things that I went through, not only just with this house, or just other things, even being kind of somewhat privileged or spoiled growing up. My parents pretty much providing for me. Other family members, giving me, money for my birthday and stuff like that. Just, I was pretty spoiled, man, as a kid. And they a lot of people say that's a no-no. You don't do that. It's harmful effects later in life. And I will say it is some effects that is harmful when you spoil your children. But I'll say that, justifyingly so, my own trials and tribulations, however I was spoiled, it kind of offset it, because I've been through quite a bit in life, to where I went through my own, and I'm still going through my own personal struggles, to where it's making me that tough individual, that stoic individual that's still going through stuff, and still, making find trying to find a way in life. A lot of people do cap, a lot of people lie to people. They put on some type of front, as to everything is fine, life is grand, I'm doing great. I'm not one of those types of people. I don't put on no front or anything. the thing is that I'll say this at one particular time. I used to talk about. I did live streams about a particular point of where I am now that I wasn't before. For example, I did a live stream when I was talking about the different types of people with debt versus people that don't have debt. uh I'm pretty much in a position where I don't have my basically my assets overlap my debts or liabilities. And it's always the human mind always wants more, so it's never satisfied usually. But I'm grateful that where I am, because I really wasn't in a worse shape financially years prior. I'm pretty much in a state where you know I'm still trying to have some type of success, but I don't have that looming debt that I used to have. So it's kind of like basically a monster that has been basically it died off. So I have it's very it's very interesting. Okay. Now the internet is really cruel. I was definitely clicking off, but I mean, this is what I saw right here. I'm like, man, what the hell? Like, I this is just crazy, man. Diddy, Diddy, the booty hunter. I mean, the internet just don't have no chill whatsoever. I mean, I'm like, it's
And
just
no
crazy.
Diddy. You understand what I'm saying?
This is absolute malarkey. Diddy, the booty hunter, and then they got a freaking bottle of baby oil. But hey, I mean, the internet gonna make fun of you. The internet gonna do what the internet does. That's what the internet does, man. They whether it's dark humor or whatever, they gonna do what they do. And that's make fun of your downfalls. The internet does not care whatsoever. Uh, so let me see here. Uh, let's- so that's internet. The internet is gonna do what the internet is. But I mean, that's it is what it is. So, uh, basically, there's all of these hot spots, all of these wars, right, going on. So the Middle East is flaring up. They are, basically, the Israel war with basically the Jews are at war with the Arabians. Um, that's to put it in a nutshell. And then you also got the Persians, which are kind of like brothers to Arabians. They're not Arabians, but they're Persians, which they were enemies of Arabs, and also you know they're also brothers through faith with Arabs. And they basically Iran basically fired off a bunch of missiles into Israel, which Iran is probably one of the Iran is like the Russia of the Arabian Peninsula or the Middle East. That's what Iran is. Iran is like, it's like the Russia of the Middle East. So they have the technology, they have some weaponry that they can attack Israel. They're the only ones that probably can really, attack Israel to a certain level, right? Because they have certain weaponry. Like for example, they have supersonic missiles that can bypass the Iron Dome. No other country really, well, I'm not going to say no other country has that, but no other country is willing to use them, such as what Iran did, as far as attacking Israel. The thing that I would say about this whole conflict, and why I pretty much haven't really said that much about it, is because how I look at it is, I look at it as slave masters against the slave masters are attacking the slave masters. In case you didn't know, uh Jews, basically majority, are were the majority of people involved in this transatlantic slave trade. If you didn't know that, there's a book called it's called, what's the name of that book? I believe it's called the um what is the name of that book? It was written by basically the Nation of Islam, and let me see here. And it basically documented the Jewish slave traders. It was called the secret relationship between blacks and Jews. Okay, so yeah, that this book here, and it's other books that document the, relations of Jewish slave traders, but yeah, they were predominantly very, very aggressively involved in the slave trade in America. They insured the ships, they owned a lot of the ships, and a lot of the slave masters were Jewish. So that's why I say, okay, it's the slave masters versus the slave masters, because the definitely the Persians and the Arabs actually, because the Jews that you know of, right? Those are European Jews, right? Ashkenazi, and different sects of European Jews. Mainly, I know the one is Ashkenazi. I forgot the other ones, but basically they were heavily involved in the slave trade. Anything with money, Jews are notorious as far as trying to make a profit, trying to do anything to make a profit. So definitely, the slave trade was big business. Now, the Arabians and the Persians, they were slavers of Africans. They, came into Africa. That's why a lot of Northwest Africa is basically Islamic. That's why the Arabians are in Africa, like, Libya, Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, um, Tunisia, all of these different places in Africa, because of the Arab invasion. You know, basically from the 700 AD to basically modern times. They came in and they conquered Africa with the sword. It was basically get down or lay down. You know, if you converted into Islam, it spared your life. That's why you have people, today that they, don't really want to talk about their history, but that's what happened. They were given an ultimatum. They, basically um worship this religion, or suffer slavery or death. You know, Christianity is no different, other than basically it was just the religion of you know the slave master in Europe, right? So it's just, basically that's what been going on for a long time. The Arabians and the Persians were the first to actually. And then you got the Indians. Indians was involved in the slave trade as well. That's why so many black people in India, or dark skinned Indians, because then you got migration routes. East Africans traveled to India for thousands of years, and they also brought traded slaves. Slavery is old as, you know, people say prostitution is the oldest um, profession, but I would say slavery is probably, if you want to call it a profession, probably the oldest. And yeah, these these that's who's fighting. So it's like I'm like, I'm just looking. I'm like watching, watching a soccer match. These people, firing missiles at each other. And I have no partiality to any of them. I'm just being honest with you. You know, um, and they don't have any partiality to me. Like, they don't like, black people like that. You know, um, to this, like I say, this is no cap zone. I'm just telling it like it is. If I'm telling you anything different, I'm lying to you. You know.
Stop the cap.
So yeah, I mean, Iran is it definitely crossed the line as far as directly engaging with Israel. Israel is actually taking a step further. They've basically pulverized the Gazan people and pushed them out. They attempted to ethnically cleanse the Gazan, the Palestinians, and now they're going into Lebanon. So this thing is, this war is actually increasing. It's probably, I would have to, and not a lot of people wants to, I know a lot of people don't want to talk about things like this, and they don't really want to talk about that. Then you also got the war in Ukraine, the Russian war with Ukraine. That's definitely on the brinks and of peril. You got to understand it's very perilous, right? Both aspects, from both fronts, right? So the thing is that when it comes to what actually is going on, mark my word, you in this actual war that's going on, this progression that is going to right now, it has never been seen before, other than probably the 1960s. I think they had something called the 3-Day War or 7-Day War or something like that. this is actually going towards those heights. And it's kind of more concerning because you got 1960s technology. That's 1960s. You got 2024 technology. That's where you saw the Israeli shock and awe campaign with the exploding pagers and cell phones, right? So yeah, it's pretty deep, you know. And I know a lot of people don't want to talk about Jews and stuff, and it's like, I get it, um, I'm very impartial, I'm not I'm not one-sided or anything like that. I just, like I said, I tell it like it is, right? Um, and intelligently, well spoken as I possibly can, because I am very, very knowledgeable about different religions and customs and stuff like that. And if what I don't know, I ask questions or I look it up. So the thing is that one of the things that I do will say is why people are very, very scared of Jews is that what Jews do is what a lot of other people do. And what they do is they use higher intelligence. They tap into very, very high levels of intelligence, very, very high level research, very, very high level, um, different subjects or disciplines like science, mathematics, engineering. They're known for that. Known for being into scholarship, colleges, professors, a lot of PhDs, a lot of Nobel Prize winners or Jewish, right? Even the financial world, a lot of different disciplines, they're pretty much into. But one of the things that I do know is, like I say, they tap into basically mind power. You know, mind power, intelligence is infinity, right? So it's infinite. Like if you only have so see, like here's the thing, right? When it come to like strength, you only have so much energy, you only have so much strength, but your mind is infinite in what it could do, right? For example, I was cutting grass for years, having this house, and me just, I don't know, things happen, whatever, situations, whatever. I was cutting like almost an acre of grass with just a regular push mower. And then this summer, I was fortunate enough to get a actual riding mower. And this actual machine, I didn't have to do anything but basically get on the actual riding mower, position it to where I'm not hitting anything, and just ride this mower and cut all of my grass. I didn't have to use any energy. I didn't have to expel any torque to basically push this like I was doing with the push mower. And I just basically just was, driving this lawnmower over my grass, and almost like pretty much like I want to say it would take me probably almost an hour or close to 2 hours to cut about an acre of grass. With the riding mower, I was able to do it probably, I want to say 30 minutes or definitely less than an hour. And it's like, the actual energy output that I had to put in was almost minimally none. I mean, what, press the gas pedal, maybe? I mean, turn the wheel, so it's like that's what I'm talking about. Like you can invent something or make something to where you don't have to use any energy. You don't have to put any strength into it. You could just use some type of technology or develop some type of technology. Those are the things that, people, when you tap into your kind of want to say God mind or higher mind, you can do, you know. The things that I'm saying is like, I'm not saying that black people don't do that. Black people definitely have done that and continue to do that. I mean, we have a lot of inventions, and black people still invent things, but back in you know long time ago, and even during this even slavery, we were inventing things, because one of the things that you can get out of slavery, how you got out of slavery, one of those ways is if you invented something. If you invented something, you can get your freedom, right? So that was a path to freedom. So a lot of black people invented things to actually get out of slavery. So that was like one of the benefits to be able to get out of slavery. So anyway, that type of mindset, mind power, is something that a lot of people don't really talk about. A lot of people don't think about, because average person is just very basic. Average person is very, very basic in thought. Most people are like 87 octane type mindsets, or even below that. They just talk, the conversations are very basic. They don't really talk about what the problems are. That's why I feel compelled to eat. A lot of times, I ain't gonna lie, like, I listen to my own live streams, because it's like nobody's talking about what the problems are. Everybody's talking about bullshit. And I know it's fun to talk about, the garbage and the bullshit and the, celebrity
And no
drama.
Diddy. You understand what I'm saying?
It's entertaining. I ain't gonna lie about that. It might be funny, but at the end of the day, there are genuinely problems that a lot of people have, and black people definitely have those problems as well, and they should be talked about. I think that more people should talk about those things, not try to come to the internet and try to have some type of an escapism or entertainment to not really talk about those things.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
And that's where I come in, because um there's a lot of financial problems that we have to deal with. There's a lot of problems. A lot of black people are in these two categories here, either unemployed or an employee, right? We I basically modified Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, and I added unemployed, and I added system D, okay, which is working under the table, right? So a lot of I would say a lot of black people are heavily in unemployed or employee and system D. So we're like off the charts of the technically the cash flow quadrant is these four: employee, business owner, investor, self-employed. Black people are primarily off the charts of this. Unemployed, system D, and then heavily employed employees. Very few business owners. If they are in business, mostly self-employed, and very few investors, right? So I say all of that to say, yeah, those are intrinsic problems that we face every single day, and it really drives where we live. It drives a lot of our culture, even, because we have a struggle culture, where it's, the music, rap music. It's no different than, basically the reason where rap came from was basically the blues. The blues, after the blues came basically rock and R&B, and then after R&B came, hip hop and rap, right? So rap and hip hop is the modern day blues, right? It's the, personification of the blues, right? And the blues, a lot of what those songs are, my grandparents used to listen to the blues a lot, right? The blues was black people singing about suffering, because black people were definitely suffering, right? I mean, not having, whatever you think, however tough you think things are now, right? Um, Black people were suffering worse back then, and it's not even just black people. A lot of people were, because it just, things weren't how they are now. Like, it was not that many opportunities back then as they are now, right? And basically, a lot of black people were, you know, dealing with certain things that, you know, a lot of people don't want to talk about: oppression, racism, all of those different things, to where, people march for civil rights and all of that type of stuff, right? They were dealing with that heavily. And the music, the blues, was from that blues, that basically, my wife left me, and it's hard out here, those songs were basically just, songs of what was going on, what was happening during that time. Like, being, when I say, like, a lot of black people were forced to be stoics, even now, a lot of a lot of people are forced to be stoics now. And that's why a lot of times, you go into the whole word suicide, because things are getting real tight, the economy is really messed up, right? And it's just, life just throws you a monkey wrench, and then, you just you either have to get tough with it, or you crumble, right? So the thing is that definitely life was very, very tough back then. And for black people, it was, you could even say, it was even tougher. And the blues was a it was a basically the songs of that toughness, of dealing with all of that struggle, and it was very, very, even it was even very popular to listen to. That was it basically originated other music that other people, basically maybe uh, uh, appropriated, and basically tried to steal for themselves, as they were the originators of it, right? Because blues, what came from blues was rock music, and after rock music, R&B, and rap and hip hop, so the thing is that you know um black people do influence a lot of culture in America. uh it's kind of negative, the whole, the way rap is now and everything like that. I'll give it that. It's not really something that you want to be proud of right now. I'm not proud of the rap music nowadays. Most of it I'm not, right? But it is what it is. Now, people are still influenced by it, and technically black people though they have something to do with that, but you also have record executives that are pushing that. They have some very strong influence on that as well. Yet the thing is as far as fashion, a lot of different levels of influence, black people definitely have strong influence on the culture of the United States of America, no doubt. And no different than, the blues singers had influence, with very limited um, amount of control over their music, but the actual songs um, that they sung, and music instruments that they played had a strong influence, right? Just before that, before blues was jazz, strong influence, same, but it's just playing instruments, and not that much talking or singing over that, right? Just mainly jazz is mainly instruments, right? Saxophone, piano, trumpet. That's what primarily jazz was, drums, right? And then you got blues, over after that, right? Very, very strong influence on the culture of America, right? So, and that goes into, that's why I'm saying mind power, intelligence. Music is a form of intelligence. It's like, so many levels and so many types of intelligence. Music is definitely one of those. And black people are known for having higher forms of musical intelligence. You know, um, I'm not gonna go more deep into that. I can, you know, certain theories. I'll just give you an inkling to something. You got to research something called the Blue Note. Something called the Blue Note. That's all I'll say about that. But the thing is this. Um, there's a progression of things that are going on. I mean, even with the Ukraine and Russia conflict, it's a progression. It's a progression like no one have ever seen before. My grandparents, even my grandfather, had, it's past that level. I mean, when you talk about the Bay of Pigs, where the Russians were basically camped out in Cuba and America was about to invade Cuba. It's getting to that level, right? So, um, a lot of people don't, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people just not really thinking about it. Things are just kind of going on. Most people are worried about, if they're gonna pay their rent, they're gonna pay their mortgage, their car payment, and not thinking about, damn, the other things that are going on in the world. You got a lot going on right now. It's a lot going on at one time. It is so many things that are going on at one time. It's crazy. It's just absolutely bananas how many things are actually going on, how many moving parts that is going on. You got the economy, you have unemployment right now, rising. You have immigrants that are flooding the country. You have wars being funded in the Middle East, wars being funded in basically the Eastern Europe. Okay, uh, you have a devastating hurricane that hit the East Coast. North Carolina or the Carolinas. Over 200 people lost their lives and counting. Um, budget deficits in America, right? America's is getting broke. America's broke and is getting broker, right? To who? To the World Bank or the Federal Reserve's banks, right? So it's a lot of play, lot of play. You got the still got the greatest wealth transfer upon us, right? It's still going on. The greatest wealth transfer. The boomers and the silent generation are getting old. They're dying out. Their wealth is going to be transferred either through probate back to the government or through through their basically children. My grandmother is the only person on her block that's still living on her block. Like all of the people that my grandmother, like when she and her husband, my grandfather, moved in their house, it was like all of these different families that lived on this one block. And that's like the 1960s. All of those people are all dead or in a nursing home. My grandmother's the only one left on the block. Okay. um Silent generation, basically. Boomers are, I don't know how many, I wonder how many boomers are actually retired versus working. Like that's a good thing that I would like to know. I guess I can look that up right now, because basically a lot of the boomers are retiring, or if not already retired. So yeah, this is very, very shocking, right? The boomers, because like I say, the economy and lifestyle choices, et cetera, et cetera, only 25% of the boomers are retired. This is interesting. This is kind of interesting to a certain extent. Very, very interesting. And I'm not gonna lie, the boomers, a lot of the boomers that online, they're talking like it's this percentage is higher than what it is. They're talking like, man, we getting out. No, y'all still working, motherfucker. Y'all still working, bro. Only 25% of baby boomers. Wait, hold on. I forgot to put. Only 25% of baby boomers are retired. The whole narrative is that we're out, we're not in. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Like y'all still working, bruh. And data don't lie. Y'all still working, bruh. Y'all still hustling, trying to make some money. And understandably so. But the narrative that y'all retiring, the data says something totally different, bro. Y'all still working. And I'm not saying this is a blame the boomer um think think piece or whatever, but y'all still working. Y'all are definitely still working. 25% is, I mean, basically that means that 75% are still working. Now, the thing is, you got younger boomers because basically, um, you got some boomers that are technically not that old. So definitely people are not retiring at 60. That's a fact. Like people are not necessarily retiring at 60. Some people can't retire. You got a percentage of people that they just don't have enough money for retirement. They haven't saved enough for retirement. So they basically have to work. You got people that have all kind of financial responsibilities. They can't retire. So I didn't know that. Like I thought that boomers, it would be a higher percentage of them retired. I had no, like, this is one of those, I always say when I do live streams, I'm kind of like somewhat low key presenting some things. Like I'm presenting, like this is a presentation. So live stream, but it's also a presentation. And a lot of times during that presentation, I learned something. And this is something that I did not know. I thought that the boomers was definitely the ones that are retired are definitely over. I thought it would probably be over 50%. This is this is kind of interesting. I'm not gonna say alarming, but I kind of want to say alarming, but it's interesting because I thought, like I said, I thought it was at least this number would be like over 50%. So what this means is if it's only 25% that boomers are retired, that means that a lot of these a lot of boomers don't don't have the ability to retire. And then basically that's what this is saying. That's what this percentage is saying, that 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 these guys don't have the ability to retire. Now let me get the age ranges of boomers because some of these are young, which I think some of the boomers are the oldest boomers, or the yeah. So the youngest boomers are like 59 to 77. The oldest boomer is like 77. The youngest is 59. So I can understand that, but you still, okay, the retirement age I think is like 62. So it's still interesting because I mean I think this percentage is probably going to get higher as maybe like maybe let's just say 5 years from now. But this is still kind of interesting because most people's mindset probably is that boomers probably, it was a higher percentage of what people thought in their head of boomers being retired. People probably are like just as shocked as I am that only 25% of baby boomers are retired. Like my uncle was a baby boomer. He just retired, I think, like 2 years ago. Now, this kind of is interesting because one of the things, first off, is that these are like, okay, like I get like some of the rhetoric, right, that people talk about boomers, but this is probably why they're talking about it, because boomers are still in the labor market competing for jobs. Well, I will say this, right? I got another uncle That's who I'm talking about. He's younger than my oldest uncle, but technically he should be retired too. But like I say, he's kind of still behind, and he makes a lot of money. Like, but he's still, he's still behind. Matter of fact, he just bought a brand new house. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, you got some boomers like that, man. They just bought a brand new house, like they 65 and just bought a brand new house. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like they still living like they 25 and shit, like 35. Just bought a brand new house and buying brand new cars. I mean, like this kind of makes sense to me now. Like, the whole rhetoric. Like, I mean, that means that these people are probably gonna die they're gonna die at work. Like, okay, I'ma just keep it real. Like, I think I said this, but I'm not sure if I said it. But I haven't said it a lot, or I don't think I've said it much. But when I had, like, okay, my job, right, that I was working at just recently, um it was my first time, I think, for sure, if I can recall, that I worked with someone and then they died. Not at the job, but they died. Like, for example, okay, I work with a lady. She worked in my IT department. I saw her Friday. She died on Monday, or she died over the weekend. And I never forget, like, the company, the managers or whatever, they had just like an impromptu meeting, and we don't know, we like, oh, okay, we do have meetings, not regularly, but it was kind of impromptu. And they were like, basically, okay, I'll just name her Lisa. Lisa died. And we like, what? Yeah, she died over the weekend. Something happened, whatever. And we like, what the and, we didn't know what the meeting was about, and then they told us, obviously. And it's like, yeah, a lot of boomers are probably just gonna die at work. And they probably already know this. It's probably like some of the conversations they've had, and they understand their fate because they weren't prepared to retire, or they, whatever the reason is, they weren't able to retire, or not going to be able to retire. And like I say, obviously those things are, it could be a wide variety of things, right? But where this is interesting as well is because she definitely was a boomer. Yeah, the woman that died at work. uh where this is interesting is the rhetoric is true, that basically the boomers are still in the workforce competing with everybody else, right? They have the most seniority. They're still working there. They don't, it's no room for other people, right, to get jobs if the boomers are working. And they got you get jobs based off of experience. They tend to have obviously the most experience, right? So you're competing, with 75% of boomers that's still working jobs. They supposed to be at home playing with their grandkids, maybe going to the casino every now and again, um, doing some gardening around the house, maybe going on a cruise or something. things that people do when they're retired, right? Like not working a job, right? Not competing with other people for work. But that, this is like I say, I mean, I've definitely heard the rhetoric with the other people talking about boomers, and I didn't really think about it. I was just listening, but this all kind of makes sense. Yeah. You got 75% of boomers is still working. That's crazy. But the same fate they're saying that Generation X is going to probably have, right? I mean, I just made, 44. I definitely, you know, still looking for work myself. I mean, I'm still, having to probably work jobs, I mean, I see the end. I see possibly myself exiting the workforce. I mean, I definitely see possibilities, but I mean, yeah, at the very moment I still, kind of, still have employment as far as something that kind of I have to do for kind of short game purposes. Now, if you haven't listened to me in like at least 4 or 5 years, you don't know what I mean by short game. Um, and it's something that some people have taken and just ran off with and ain't gave me no credit for. But that's fine. Basically, short game is like I basically came up with the idea of, and it's not. It might not even be me that came up with it. I'm not necessarily sure, but short game is in reference to the game of golf. You have things that you have to do to get to the hole, right? To the basically to the hole. And that's the short game, right? The long game is, you driving to the hole, right? In reference to the long game versus the short game is a lot of what you have to do to get to the hole is based off of the short game. It's doing the things that you got to do, like working jobs, hustling, bustling, trying to make your bills paid so you don't be homeless. So doing all of the things, the tangibles to day-to-day things that you have to do to survive, versus the long game is things that you kind of do to kind of like make sure, like for example, you have retirement money, make sure you even have money for inheritance to give to your grandchildren so they don't have to be all fucked up in the short game, right? It's long term strategies for your financial success, right? Some people are even born in the long game, right? They're born with some type of inheritance. They have some type of inheritance. Their parents have something for them, or some type of position in a company. Even sometimes people have actual money. They don't have to wait for somebody to die. They actually have some type of trust fund where they have monies while their parents are still alive, that they've given to them, or their grandparents have given it to them, i.e., like Paris Hilton and so on and so forth. Those are like, people that are kind of like in the long game. They never had to deal with the short game like that. Like they didn't have to go get no job at Starbucks or Piggly Wiggly or Publix to make ends meet, to pay their cell phone bill and their car payment or anything like that. They just kind of like in the long game, right? So the thing is that a lot of people, even Gen X, are going to have very similar to this same fate of where they will probably be working in retiring very late, or if not retiring at all, just working until they just basically, you know, uh, like a Supreme Court justice. A lot of Supreme Court justices, they die on the bench. That's a position that you just kind of pretty much it's a lifetime appointment. Most of the justices, they, they keep that position for their whole life. They die on the bench actually. Some retire, you know, but a lot of them, they have, died actually being a Supreme Court justice, because it's just something that I don't know, it's just something that they do. But the thing is that that's kind of what uh it looks like, that a lot of even Gen X is probably gonna have to do, even millennials, might even be Gen Z. I'm not sure. But the thing is that this, I'm not ragging, I'm not gonna rag too hard, because Gen X might have the similar fate, right? So the thing is this is definitely interesting. This statistic is definitely, I would have to say, something that is like kind of a surprise to me, that I didn't know about. And it kind of makes sense to why, things are the way they are, you know. I definitely did notice. Did not notice at all. It's very, very interesting. It's just like one of those things. I mean, um, you didn't know. You probably did. I'm probably the only person that actually even displayed this bit of information. It's like, wow. I just was thinking about, the boomers, as far as, talking about silent generation and so on and so forth, and it just brought that up. But yeah, it's kind of makes sense now why they, all of the things that they, bring up about the boomers. That's definitely one of those. And it's like, yeah, okay, they're still out there working, competing for jobs. The poor Xers and millennials and Gen Z, they trying to get a job, and the boomers still at work with all their experience. One of the things that like I say, people are going to hire people with the most experience. Fresh out of college versus experience, hands down, you can't compete with it. You absolutely can't compete with it. You know. And speaking of generational feuding, this is very interesting here. So, of course, the Gen Z saga, um, basically DDG and Holly, or Helly, they broke up or whatever, and uh apparently Joe Budden has something to say about their breakup or whatever, and DDG posted, nigga got a 30 years max of life left, and speaking on a relationship of people the same age as your son you take care of. I hope you forgot to take your magnesium pills today, you old bitch. You know. So apparently, Joe Budden has something to say, and this is what he said. This is what he didn't like. he didn't like this commentary here. So let's play this. I'm just kind of going with the flow. You know what I'm saying?
And why am I supposed to
So this is Gen X versus, I guess, Gen Z.
care about his thoughts on anything? I'm very happy that they have broken up, so I don't get to keep seeing this name attached to this girl's name.
Now, Joe Budden is kind of just a dark, like a lot of New York, New Jersey cats. They just really just don't give a hell about nobody else. One of the things about in Chicago, cats are very similar. I guess people all across the country are similar in some aspects. One of the things about guys like Joe Budden, it's like people in their inner circle, and of course people in their inner circle, they definitely dog them out and throw them away like used milk, right? Or old milk, right? But if they in your inner circle, they get some privileges or whatever the case may be. But if you outside of the circle and you're not like quote unquote popular enough, it's like F you, and it's like you're nobody. And a lot of people, that's how they act. He ain't no different. But yeah, that's just the narrative of just the stuff he says. I mean, of course, he's got a podcast, so it is what it is. But it's like, yeah, he just says certain things like he just don't give a fuck, like he just doesn't care, he doesn't, and it's like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, me, I don't take that approach to people. I don't talk like that. But he just that's how he thinks about it. That's what he thinks, and I mean, he ain't biting his tongue. One of the things I'll say, I mean, I guess he ain't capping about it. He just speaking how he's speaking about it, but he ain't really got that much, good things to say about the dude. I can see that's why, there's some contention, but it's like, that this is what he said.
When I don't know him for nothing as a standalone. And for me, it's important to know people based off their own name and merit and what they have done. Every time I see his name, it's attached to hers, and it's typically in some type of clout chaser fashion. So that makes me look at him a different way, and hopefully I get to look at him a lot less now that they've broken.
Well, she's extremely she's high profile.
Very high profile and very talented.
And you saying her head game is trash, gonna go get their own account.
Yeah, we figured it out.
They're gonna go find out on their own, number one. And number two, if it was that trash, why you snatched that cherry so fast, my boy? I mean, if her head was as bad as you say, that cherry didn't levitate long.
Yeah, I don't really know what the fuck they talking about. Like, I have no, I don't really be on this type of shit. But I'm, like I say, I'm going with the flow. I'm talking about generations. I was talking about the baby boomers basically still in the labor market. Only 25% of them are retired. This is Gen Z and Gen X beef right here, which I don't know. I don't really hear that much about Gen Z and Gen X beef. It's usually the millennials in Gen X, but I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, Joe Budden is notorious for kind of getting into it with people, and he speaks his mind. I think he's a Virgo. I think that's what they said, that he's a Virgo. I'm not. Let me see if let me confirm that. Joe Budden ain't I mean, he talks as if he's not one of those dudes that basically, I mean, Joe Budden basically is a one-hit wonder. Um, he just, I mean, if you had a gun in your head and you basically were basically like you had to basically announce, you have to say a Joe Budden album or a Joe Budden, um like you had to name 10 Joe Budden songs or 5. I'll even just give you 5. Besides pump it up, like you couldn't name no 5 songs unless you like a diehard Joe Budden fan or something like that. You wouldn't know anything besides pump it up. Neither would I. And it's like, he act like he's not the same type of person, as DDG is. He's the Gen X version of a DDG. And it's like and he is a Virgo. I just confirmed it. He's an August Virgo. And this is a lot of times what Virgos do too. If they don't like look at themselves in the mirror, they don't see the fact that they got flaws too. So I'm a Virgo, I'm a September Virgo, and I have to point out the correlation with him actually and DDG. He got the same playbook as DDG. So DDG apparently has been with like Ruby Rose, other like basically Instagram basically chick. He did the same thing. It wasn't no Instagram back then. He was with a video vixen, Tahari. He's got a video vixen on his podcast. I don't know. He probably, has something going on with her, Melissa Ford. He's a fucking Gen X DDG with gray hairs. And he's talking to DDG like he ain't shit. And he's the same fucking person. That nigga, that damn near is his son. They're like his little brother. They're like their comparison is very, very similar. That I just don't get where the smoke is or where, but that's just how, a lot of New York niggas are very, very just don't give a fuck about nobody. That's just that's kind of how Chicago niggas be like that too. Okay. A lot of people be like that, but it's like almost like this, just, I ain't gonna go into too deep to it, but it's just like, that's just how a lot of cats be, but he's the same fucking person. He's literally the same fucking person. Like he had one hit. It's like a nigga had one hit and they act like they just like Michael Jackson or some shit. Nigga, besides pump it up, like nobody even know what the fuck other songs you had.
Before you got in action, DDG. I don't even know what that stands for.
What does DDG stand for? Daryl Dwayne Granberry.
Yeah, your name.
I'll give you 5 seconds to name Joe Budden songs. Besides, I give you Pump It Up. That's like the one hit wonder. I give you 5 seconds. Name fucking 5 Joe Budden songs. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Granberry. You know what my thing is with these that's on the rise and they want to go get with the chick with some notoriety that's also on the rise.
Salute, by the way.
Whenever that relationship fails, I never see them bounce back with something that's going to get Shorty upset. I normally never hear from them again in the dating realm. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm going to ever hear about DDG and his next chick.
And then here's again. The same shit with Joe Budden. He ain't getting with the Princess of Prague. He ain't. Who the fuck is he with? Like, I mean, like, see, this is. I mean, like, I don't. this I don't know what it's this shit is weird to me. It's like the shit. It's like the pot calling the kettle black. Like I mean, I'm not defending DDG. I'm just saying, nigga, you the same motherfucker. Like who you with? That ain't. I mean, like to you who? I mean, like I just. I mean, it's like this nigga don't have the same problems that this dude, like he talking about the dude DDG got. Like you haven't got anybody on a higher level than Tahari and the other chicks that you got with before. I mean, like what? I mean, it's like and I don't know, man. It's like that's he's definitely like a dark. He's like a dark uh Virgo, dark sided Virgo, definitely, right? This is basically Melissa Ford is a Canadian spinster, ex video vixen, um ex before Instagram, basically I mean, like it's just a bunch of dark souls. I have to say it. Like I really wouldn't want to, what I'm saying? Like and I mean, just like he, speaking freely. I mean, of course he makes his money or whatever, but I'm sure they get money or whatever. But the thing is this, right? Joe Budden has gotten fired on out in the street by dudes because he be running his mouth crazy like that. And it's like he ain't no Mike Tyson. He's not no whack 100 where he can fight. You know what I'm saying? And it's like this nigga's gotten fired on, you know what I'm saying? Like and here's the thing, like this is another thing that, just some weird shit, like you know what I'm saying? Like this, see, like I ain't gonna lie, like DDG ain't good. He ain't good with the clapback. He ain't good at all with the clapback. If I was DDG, this is what I would have done. This is all I would have done as far as a response. I wouldn't have did no motherfucking saying no goofy shit. Like I don't know, man. It's like I think basically I think that DDG probably was raised by a single mom. He's got a lot of like single mom tendency type shits that he does. But he ain't as good. He ain't as good as I am with the clapback though. Like I'm really good. Like that's why I ain't gonna lie. Like I mean, if I if I gotta clap back at somebody, I'm definitely good at it. I'm very, very good with like showing people themselves in the mirror. I ain't gonna lie. I was so good at showing people. I'm like, oh, so you want to talk about, what I'm saying, this, that, and the third. Okay, exhibit A. I just showed them their fucked up tendencies and stuff like that. And then, what I'm saying, they like, oh damn, because I mean, like, I'm really good at pointing things out, people's contradictions, and then the fucked up shit they be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really good at it. Really, really good at that shit. Cause let me see here. Oh yeah, this is it right here. This is that shit right here. This is all I would have done. This is literally all I would have done. I would have just been like, I wouldn't have said no little goofy ass post or no shit like that. I would have just replayed this video right here. Boom.
Come on, Steve. Come on. You can make it. Oh, that's a bad idea. Oh, that's a very bad idea.
That's all I would have done right there. That's all I would have done. I wouldn't have did no messaging, none of that shit. I wouldn't have said none of that goofy. I wouldn't make no goofy ass posts saying nothing like that. That's all I would have done. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? It's just I'm very good at it. You know, it's like I can put your worst day you've had in your life, and I'll just give that to you. I'll point out the most like severe weakness you have, and Virgos are very good at that. And I'll just put it right. I just put pie right in your face. Like here you go. This is you, bro. You know, and that's that. You know, I used to get in a lot of fights because I used to do that. One of my homies that I grew up with, right? I knew his mom was on food stamps. We got into it, and I said, "That's why your mama on food stamps." He immediately started to wanted to chase my ass. I jumped the fence. I ran away. I knew that I just knew that shit was a low blow. I know all the low blows. After that, I think after that situation, he didn't want to be my friend no more. He started, basically he started my fucking kind of turning separate, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. It still ain't the same. But it's like, yeah, I do shit like that. Like people be like that shit. He motherfucking was steaming when I did that shit. I said, your mama on food stamps, nigga. He was pissed. He was absolutely fucking distraught about that, man. Because, I mean, that's the type of shit, I mean, I'm capable of. I'm like, a lawyer does the same thing on the witness stand. They ask you those tough questions. So they point out those tough questions and stuff like that. It's like I'm a natural with that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't even emotional about it. Like when I was a kid, I used to be emotional about it. Maybe I would say when I'm younger. I'm like really kind of black pill now. So I can say that shit and not be affected by anything you tell me. You could tell me, you could say anything, and that shit won't affect me at all. Unless, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, but mostly I will not be affected. Most likely. I'll just say most likely I will not be affected. Unless you really good, But the thing is this, man, that's the shit I do. Like I point out obvious shit that you probably don't want nobody to know. And I just clap back at your ass with it. I mean, but the thing is this. I don't take it personal. You know what I'm saying? I don't take that shit personal, man. When I was younger, we used to get into fights, man. We still be cool, man. We'd be like, I had gotten in a fight with somebody, man, and we was cool afterwards, but I mean, I don't know. Sometimes people be putting on an act or whatever, but but the thing is that this dude is saying things that he's guilty of. That's the funny thing about this shit.
I'm on.
Well, his
I
chick
think that's
before
same thing
her, you know who she is.
I don't.
Who?
Ruby. I'll talk your shit, EDG.
Who was the chick before her? I'm afraid that we view that differently.
And there was a whole lot going on with her where she was doing clout chasey to their relationship.
Well, Ruby is a hustler and a business owner, Who was the young lady before her?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
That's what troubles me. That's what troubles me. Good luck, DDG. This will be your first and last time being mentioned on this broadcast for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty dark, you know, pretty dark, you know what I'm saying, response or whatever. I mean, but that's, you know, that's you know, I guess that's how he is. But you know, hey, I mean, I just, you know, like I said, I'm going with the flow, man. You know, I just laughed, you know what I'm saying, on the post, and you know, I don't know. That's all I did, because basically, you know, somebody basically said, they was like, they put the picture of his baby, because his baby is like already famous. His boy, he got the little, like, you know, the little response with the he got like this his baby boy already got like a meme, like, you know, this is not going anywhere. Like this is his caption here is like hilarious. You know, what is happening? You know what I'm saying? His son, you know, giving that look, you know, like what the fuck is going on? You know, and I'm like that too. Like I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know, but yeah, it's, you know, I mean, I don't know, man. You know, that dude, man, he you know, he definitely, like I say, he definitely got stole off of. You know, that's what happens, man. If you say shit about somebody, they go. That's why I try not to be talking shit about people. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody could find where you is and still on your ass. You come out going in your car, and then somebody just stole, just still on you. You know, so you go to the park or go wherever you know what I'm saying, go in your daily, you know, activities, and just somebody come out of nowhere and just still on your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what type of shit happens when you just be talking shit about people online. But um, you know, that's what happened to Joe Budden as well. I mean, he's definitely gotten stole off on quite a few times, especially being in New York. I mean, in Chicago, New York, you know, you don't get stole off on. In Chicago, you gonna get shot. You know, that's what happens in Chicago. You ain't getting stole off on that. That was in the 90s. You get stole off on. Chicago now, you getting shot. You talking shit about somebody online in Chicago, your ass gonna get shot, man. They gonna catch your ass and shoot you. That's what they do now. The young niggas now, they shoot. The, you know, 90s motherfuckers had a little bit more care and love for another. They just gonna shoot the fade. But these young niggas now, Z's and millennials, they start shooting niggas for just talking online. You know, I don't agree with that. I don't condone that, but that's what they do in Chicago. That's why the murder rates and all them shootings and shit like that, a lot of that is from online beefs or just local beefs and online, offline beefs. That's where a lot of that shit came from. That whole King Von stuff, they was beefing online and beefing offline and fighting and shooting, gang banging, you know. But yeah, anyways, man, I just, like I say, I had some energy, had some things to say. You know, I guess, you know, most people probably, you know, ain't up, you know, they're getting ready to go to church or getting ready for tomorrow. You know, definitely, you know, some NFL games is gonna come on tomorrow. I got my picks in. You know, I definitely got those in. So apparently, also I gotta say, Haiti is just like Haiti is like, man, just it's like Fallout, man. It's like it's like, man, it's going, it's like, I don't know, World War Z or some shit. Um, I guess that's why they brought a lot of Haitians over here. They fucking having a dog eat dog contest. Like it's like motherfucking um World War Z over there, some shit. And it's like, I mean, this stuff happens. They be, you know what I'm saying? It's Haiti basically is one just big experiment. It's like they so many people have they've been fucking with Haiti for like hundreds and hundreds of ever since they basically defeated the French. They've been fucking with Haiti ever since, and they've been creating coups and creating these like violent powder kegs and shit. I was just on the island, okay, and this is crazy. I'm gonna tell you something. Like, I was in DR fucking what, January? Yeah, January, I believe. And the same island that Haiti's on is the same island that the DR is on. You got Haiti on the, basically one side, and then you got DR, the Dominican Republic, on one side. So, like, I mean, there's Haitians in the DR, and man, I mean, I was just there, like fucking not in Haiti, but not too far away from Haiti, like 9 months ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, really tripped out. You know what I'm saying? Like, how close I was, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely saw Haitians there, and it's like, man, it's fucked up, man. It's just hell on earth, man. Just some people cannot imagine this, like dealing with this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Every single day, dealing with that madness. That's why they came over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the reasons, but it's like, again, they keep fucking around with Haiti, man. They keep experimenting, creating all these coups. They killed the president, what, like 2 or 3 years ago or something like that. Creating all these little powder kegs, power vacuums and all this shit. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Okay. That's why they brought the Haitians over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had to, bring these people over here. I mean, I know people don't give a fuck about, immigrants and shit like that. They don't give a fuck about the Haitians. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, at least they let them in, because I remember when they was trying to come in over the border, like, I think it was a few years ago, they was rounding them up. They had horseback, motherfucker. It was like, goddamn it, motherfuckers was like, damn. The Haitians came through. They had horsebacks and lassos. They had cowboys and shit, with motherfucking lassos and shit, rounding up Haitians and shit. So it's like, they brought them in, now, I mean, it's everybody coming in now. Africans, Haitians, Jamaicans, people all over the world coming in now. But, it's like, man, I mean, that's part of some type of agenda. But that's why they coming over here, man. Motherfuckers keep tinkering. They keep tinkering with that island, man. They keep fucking with them people, man. They pissed off because they defeated the French, and it was deadly, man. They killed the women, they killed the children, they definitely killed the men. They even killed the fucking mulattoes. You know, Haiti, he really, really was fucked up about that. Like, they killed the light skinned people. And that's, you know what I'm saying? They killed every trace, damn near trace of French, influence and blood during that war, during that uprising, the Haiti uprising. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was nasty. You know what I'm saying? So, ever since then, man, they never let them motherfuckers be. You know what I'm saying? They never let the motherfuckers be great. And then, the people didn't let, I guess the Haitians themselves didn't let themselves be great. I mean, I don't know, I guess it's a lot of shit to overcome. But anyway, man, I've said quite a bit. I hope you got something from this. I had a few eyeballs here and there, but I mean, hey, if you know what I'm saying, the clouds is for where the clouds is for. I mean, I hang out in the clouds myself. You know what I'm saying. I know you're gonna watch the video. You know what I'm saying. It's all good. Hope you learn something. Have a great weekend.